shouldn't be very hard. It's easier than the way we've been doing it. So way down in Note, we have this on click. What if instead we just replace that with a NavLink? If we'd been doing this from the get-go, it would have made it a whole lot easier. Import NavLink from React Router DOM. NavLink to put our closing tag down here. To where I'm going to use a template string backticked right instead of quotes. Slash notes slash and then the ID of this note. So note.id. Now Note doesn't need to know anything about how to set the current note. It's just going to change the route. It's just a link now. It's just a link to this other route. And as soon as we go to that other route, the current note's going to get set based on the parameter in the ID in the route. So we don't need set current node in here. So we can take it out of there. Which means up in note list, we don't need to pass it on. Not necessary anymore. And it doesn't do anything else with it, so we can take it out of note list. Which means that we don't need to pass it to note list over in main. Note list right here. Set current note. Don't need to do it anymore. So now note list is real simple. Just the one prop. Change it to a one-liner if you want.
Have you pushed in a while?
Mm-hmm. Now we can't stop passing it to main because we do pass it on to note form, and that's important. Does it work? Okay, our styles sheet got screwed up because now that's a link and it gets underlined. But one of my notes, another one. One of my notes, another one. It is loading them in the form again, and the URL is changing as we do so.
Nice.
Wicked! Hooray! Well, we can make this not look so bad. Add NavLinks to notes in the list. So overall, conceptually, it's all a little simpler, except for the concept of routing itself. But if you have routing itself down, the whole idea of the note form knowing which node it should load based on the ID means that all something like note component has to do is link to the route that has that ID in it. It doesn't have to worry about how it gets updated in state, right? In fact, would any of this stuff have to happen in note form? It can happen anywhere that has access to this ID, right? It's just that in main, that's where the rule for that ID is, so it is the only component that actually has access to that ID. But we could have changed that. We could have done this basically a level up from here. I already committed that, right?